Dear students, in this online class, we are going to study about capital budgeting decision. The meaning given here, capital budgeting decision is concerned with a long-term investment decision, and this is also called as what capital budgeting decision. That means this involves committing the finance on a long-term basis. This means capital budgeting is also called as fixed capital. That means the amount invested in acquisition and development of fixed assets such as plant and machinery, land and building, furniture, vehicles, expansion, and modernization. That is what about capital budgeting decision. So the true worth of the business enterprise is evaluated in terms of its fixed assets. Dear students, when we are studying about this capital budgeting concept, it is very important because it creates accountability and measurability. Any business organization that seeks to invest its resources in a project without understanding the risk factors and returns involved would be held as irresponsible by its owners or shareholders, or we can call it as a management. So that is the reason why we need to study the factors which are affecting capital budgeting decision. So here these are the factors given. The first factor which affects capital budgeting decision is what cash flows of the project. First factor, cash flows of the project. So here we need to understand cash flows includes the series of cash receipts and cash payments over the life of an investment. Means the amount of cash flows should be carefully analyzed before considering a capital budgeting decision. So this point is very clear that whenever business is going to invest on project, the business organization should analyze what is the amount required to invest in a project. That means how much amount is going to be spent. At the same time, what is the amount return on the investment. So the business always considering cash inflows are more, whereas cash outflows are less. That means benefit received should be more. This is what about this point, cash flows of the project. So here one more point we need to understand. When the business organization is going to spend money on any project, in that case business organization should estimate what is the cash outflows. Cash outflows means what, the amount of money which is going to be spending on that project. At the same time, how much amount is going to getting back, means return. So this point should be make it clear before going to invest in a project. The second one, the rate of return. So here we need to understand, that means the rate of return. This factor denotes that the rate of return of the project or the investment. That means the expected returns from each proposal or a project and the assessment of the risk factor should be considered, means should be analyzed. The project which has more returns and less risk factors, such project should be considered for decision making. That means the business organization should consider the return as well as the risk factor. So the business can go for analyzing option wise, means plan 1, plan 2, or project A, or project B, or project C. So here I have given two examples, means project A is there and project B is there. So out of these two projects, which project should be accepted? And once again, the project which is going to be accepted by the business organization, such project should has a more profitability, that is going to be selected because which gives more return. So here A and B projects have been given. So A project gives 10% return while B gives 12% return. So in these two options, if these two are the projects before the organization, now organization has to select at the end of the day 12% project, means B project is going to be selected because which gives more return compared to option A. That is what the second point factor. The third one coming about the investment criteria involved, means it is concerned with a particular project involves a number of calculations about what, about the amount of investment, that means how much is needed. Next, the rate of interest, means rate of interest is less or more. Then cash flows means what, inflows and outflows. Inflows means the cash is going to be receiving on the project, and outflows means what, the cash is going to be spending on the project. Then time factor, that means how much time is required to get return, whether 10 years or 15 years or 20 years or 30 years. So what is the time factor to get return on the investment? So the different techniques are applied to each proposal before selecting a particular project. So these three are what, factors affecting capital budgeting decision. So first one, cash flows of the project. Second, rate of return. Then investment criteria. These three are what, factors which are affecting for capital budgeting decision. Thank you.